good. Senator Wicker from Kansas.
Actually from Mississippi, but I've visited Kansas once.
I'm just kidding, because everyone knows where's Kansas. Anyway, very good. Good seeing you here.
Thank you so much. Mr. Norquist, very interesting prepared testimony. On page 2 of your testimony, you make the flat statement that people are an asset, not a liability. And I think I can extrapolate from that. What you mean is illegal status people and legal status people, regardless, are assets. On page 3 of your testimony, you talk about the Arizona experience and compare that to New Mexico and California. And basically, do I understand your testimony to be that in persuading, one way or the other, illegal immigrants to leave Arizona, that has harmed the Arizona economy as compared to California and New Mexico, where more illegals were allowed to stay there? Is that your testimony?
On the first part, the people are an asset liability, is that people produce more than they consume, and that there's the old Malthusian worldview that if you have another baby born in the country, we're all poorer because you have to divide everything that we have by one more person. The idea, the whole zero population growth campaign, which also is associated with and manages the anti-immigrant organizations, their view is that people are a liability. More people make us poor, and that is a worldview. I think they're wrong. I think historically, with 300 million people in the country, we're slightly richer than we were when there were 3 million people in the country, and that more people in a free society, where people are allowed to innovate and operate in a free society, the country's richer with more people rather than less people.
Okay, well, apply that then to the Arizona versus New Mexico and California experience.
Well,
I think you're saying they're an asset to California and New Mexico, regardless of their legal status.
Well, the argument in Arizona at the time was, oh, if these people weren't here, our unemployment numbers would get better and the economy would be better because they're a drain. When they left, things got worse. Okay, unemployment was problematic compared to other similarly situated states. I mean, we're not comparing them to, I don't know.
Things got worse as a direct result of their leaving. Is that your testimony?
Well, if you have another theory, we can look at it.
I'm
clearly,
just trying
to better.
Understand what you're saying.
The fellow who put that piece of legislation together got recalled. So somehow it wasn't viewed as a particularly good idea. The 2 senators from the state are 2 of the most outspoken advocates of comprehensive immigration, and both got reelected with those positions. So the idea that Arizona, per se, is happy with that law, what they did was they made it a crime to stand on the side of the road and look for work. And I'm not sure that that was a good idea. Other states have not followed it.
I suppose the governor that signed the law got reelected too. So there's always a difficulty extrapolating why people vote for whoever. Let me ask you this.
Watch the next governor. We're going to be okay in Arizona.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Norquist. Well, if we didn't have the 12 million illegals in the United States now, what would the economic effect of that be?
Well, you can look at where people came in. These are people who there was no legal opportunity to come in and be a farm worker or...
Would it be positive or negative if we didn't have those 12 million illegal immigrants?
GDP would be smaller.
Okay. From an economic perspective, how should we be picking and choosing, Mr. Norquist? Who should we encourage to immigrate to the United States? Should we have a point system? And what can we learn from other countries who aggressively encourage immigration, such as Canada and New Zealand and Australia?
Well, you've got different examples through American history. I mean, one of the reason you have the illegal population is that we once had a guest worker program. We had lots of illegals, then we had a guest worker program. They were arresting 800,000 people a year on the border before Eisenhower put in a guest worker program. Then they were arresting 45,000 people at the border. Then the labor unions didn't like it, so they got rid of the guest worker program, and they were arresting 1 million people at the border, and people came in illegally. If you don't have a guest worker program or a legal way to come in permanently or temporarily and work, people will come in around the system. And that was created by U.S. law, flawed U.S. immigration law, not having a guest worker program, not having enough legal immigration to fit the needs. I mean, a lot of high-tech people never came here, and they went and started companies in other countries. A lot of work just didn't get done. So reforming that is very important. Look, there are all sorts of ways. The whole STEM idea of allowing people who've got certain skills and saying we need X number of guys from in the high-tech industry, step one. But there's also a need for people who work in ranching and dairy and the farm and farming, where there aren't folks coming in from the domestic market. Whether you do that through permanent immigration or through a guest worker program, those positions are needed for the economy, and if you didn't have them, we'd be worse off.
Okay, I think I'll ask the witness to take that last question about what we learned from other countries for the record and get us an answer on the record. Would you?
Sure. Well,
Yeah.
Oh, sure. You
Very
want something in
quickly,
writing?
because
That'll be fine.
Representative
Yeah, okay.
Sanchez is waiting. Okay. Thank you very much.